At first, Redcat came out with the Ascent-18. And it was like, man, this is an amazing little micro crawler. 2025, they released a brushless version of it. High steer axles, plus brushless, ready to run. And it was like, wow, they took this one, they made it even better. Today, it's the Apex. Even wilder than the ones before? If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. You'll tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. Let's get started by seeing what all comes in the box. So, we have the truck itself, of course. The standard Redcat RTX 4C that we do get on a lot of the different vehicles. You actually get a whole rear bed for the truck, because it doesn't come with one installed from the factory, but it's already pre-painted, has all the hardware. You have a quick start instruction manual with a QR link to the full manual, plus a LiPo charger, USB LiPo charger, but notice that it says 3S LiPo only. So let's take a look at what we have here and how it's different versus the normal Ascent-18s. When I first saw this thing out of the box, it just looks absolutely mean. Like, I love the look of this truck. It just screams like I'm about to crawl over everything. I just love the overall aggressive stance of it, the big cut to the body, everything like that. It's very different from its predecessors. Beyond the body, one of the first things that you notice is it's really, really wide. I measure from outside of the tire to the outside of the tire. I'm something like 145 millimeters total wide versus like 130. So we're like over 15 millimeters wider stance. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Clearly, for stuff like side hilling and ability to get this truck to not flip over, wider is definitely better. Maybe depending on your obstacle course, maybe you have some places that are width restrained. Maybe that 15 millimeters really matters depending on where you're crawling and how you're crawling. But in general, this should be dramatically better for performance. You'll notice the tires are a little bit taller as well. These are some aftermarket tires with weight on them, measure somewhere around that like 62 millimeters. This about the same, maybe closer to 60. These 65. So measuring it, it doesn't feel like they're that much bigger, but side by side, they feel massive. They feel cheat code big. Very aggressive pattern, very soft. If you compare just the feel of this rubber compound to the feel of the standard Ascent tire, which is already a really good tire, you can feel the rubber compound on this tire feels dramatically softer. On the bottom here, you will see that the overall geometry and everything here looks very similar. It looks like these links, the links on the previous truck about 65 millimeters, looks like these links about 70. So the rear of the truck is stretched out a little bit, and similarly the front is reduced. So they have actually reconfigured all of these links. Rear longer, front shorter, moving that whole transmission and center of mass forward versus the previous released high steer brushless version. That is awesome. That is just good for crawling. There's no way about it. And the other thing that you'll notice here, you'll notice that the sliders on the side are a different shape, a little bit more curved in, a little more cut in. You'll notice this bottom skid here is flat. It does not have that hump up anymore. The whole piece here is redesigned compared to the prior one. At first glance, I thought they were actually the same, but they have actually redesigned a lot of what is underneath that underpins the truck here. This is a whole revolution. It's not just a tweak with a different body. This is a whole different version of this Redcat Ascent-18. Unlike in the previous trucks, underdrive and overdrive are actually already included in the differentials, 11% and 11%. So you get that 23% total overdrive, total difference in speed straight out of the box. Along with that overdrive, metal gears in the transmission ready to go for whatever kind of abuse you plan to put on it. Fun little trick here on the wheels. Once we get them off, these 6 bolts aren't just there for show. Those actually have a removable removable hex on the inside, and these are actual bead locks. So if for whatever reason you did not like these tires, if you have a standard tire that you like to run, these bead locks right here, you can completely take them apart. And underneath that wheel is brass. Dude, factory installed brass portal covers. And it kind of hides from you here because it's just black on black, but front brass diff cover. So you got portal covers and diff cover straight out of the box. None of that on the back. You know, you want the rear of your truck to be lightweight as possible. So this is all plastic back here. And yes, that extra width that we saw earlier from this comes directly from the axle housing itself. You can actually see the difference there. The tubes are just physically longer. So that means we got new drive shafts and everything on these high clearance axles to make it even wider. These are the parts that you're going to buy after you buy this truck anyway. After you buy this truck or this one or any others, you're going to end up buying these brass portal covers, this brass diff cover. So the fact that they're giving us that straight out of the box, already installed, that's pretty sweet. It's really kind of hard to see here on the camera, but we mentioned it earlier, this whole new redesigned kind of bottom skid and all that. And right here, it's a little bit more obvious, but I don't know if it comes across on camera. This whole thing has been redesigned with a swoop up here, and this is a 5 degree, so a 5 degree angled skid. So once you get up and on a rock, it'll slide off on there. Previous models of the Ascent, the tilt body, right? Tilt body, you know, easy latch system. On this truck, one big pin that comes across here. I don't know why more companies don't use these. These things are amazing. I love these big ones like this. Pop it off those rear body mounts, and then it's actually a push forward. Look, it's a little clip-in system here. So it's not a tilt bed. It's not a tilt cab like we've had in the prior. We have these posts that stick out. And what you do is slide it onto those posts and then down. Done and done. Pop it up, pull it off. Very easy. Look how slim these little mounts are. Right here, that's a really trick design that's not overly complicated. We've seen a bunch of companies try to do some level of clipless, right? And you tend to get a big mechanism in here. This right here, I love the minimalist of that is really awesome. Now that we have the body off, we can notice some other pretty big changes here. This is not just the standard Ascent chassis now thrown on with a different body. This is a whole different one. Carbon fiber chassis straight out of the box, but look at how far up here it ends, right? We're not going all the way up to some bumper here at the very beginning. We are bumperless. This whole thing is ending back here at the servo. None of this even exists. On the back side here, same thing. We're ending very, very short to give you all that departure angle. No bumper, none of this rear structure. You notice how much different the shocks are laid down on this truck compared to the prior model. That should help us with a lot of articulation. This prior model had a 3450 kV brushless system with this ESC receiver 2-in-1 unit, and they did go away from that on this, which I think is interesting. This is the Hobby Wing, the waterproof Mini 24 with the Hobby Wing 3500 kV motor. That's a 1621 3500 kV motor. But what that does mean is we have a standalone receiver, which I kind of really like. I kind of like the standalone receivers because then it's easier to swap controllers and things along those lines. You don't have to get into, you know, stuck with replacing both an ESC and a receiver. So this is, I think, a nice upgrade. And then right here, if you notice, I really hope Redcat is going to sell these. Look at this 3S 200 milliamp hour battery. That is a very small little battery. And you compare that the 750s that have been shipping with their micro crawlers, I mean, look at that size difference between there. It's just a little bit thicker, but the overall package is dramatically smaller. And when it comes to these small crawlers, every little bit of weight matters. Just Velcros here into the side, came installed. I have taken it out and charged it. Full balance charge with the small plug here on the front. We can use either that USB charger that comes with the truck, or I just use my normal hobby grade charger for it. The servo, I believe, is the same one that's been coming on these crawlers and has been doing really well. overall, when you look at that thing, this is a very aggressive truck. I'm ready to get this thing all fired up and test it. First test is going to be here on the workbench with some of this crawler tracks terrain. That hobby wing system, I mean, I can't believe, look at that. Look how slow we can go with that hobby wing system if you really want to. That's pretty ridiculous. Obviously, we probably don't need to crawl that slow. Yeah, that's not a problem at all, is it? There's no hang-ups, there's no articulation problem. All 4 tires on at all times. Now this is where, if you notice, it's about the width of the outside of this obstacle. So that extra 15 millimeters wide here is getting us a little bit more, but look at that. It'll just flex through that obstacle. Previous ascents and other small crawlers will definitely get hung up. And you can see the rock slider's trying there. It's doing its job, and it just missed it as it went through there. That is awesome. That is a very twisted up part of this course. The truck just took it. Let's see how it does in reverse. You're gonna make it through there? Oh, like not even a problem. So much clearance. He just kind of laughs at it. Pull up on this side. This is the other side of the course here. Now, I'm going to be honest, I normally will stop a little small micro crawler test right here, because usually these things are pretty miserable when you take them outside, but I'm betting this one might be good enough, so we're going to go put it on my front rock wall and see just what can this small little crawler get up and over. Oh, look at that torque twist. Yay, high steer axles. Oh, look at it go. Oh, this is going to be crazy right here. Can I do this? Can I do it? Can I walk it? Look at that gap. Can it walk up that gap? Can I do it? There's no way. There's no way. Come on. Oh. Oh. Go over enough. Oh, no, you're kidding me. You're kidding. That's ridiculous. Now, will it have enough power to bump up here? There's no way it's crawling it. Let's just see. Will it crawl it? Oh, it's actually closer. There's more clearance there than I thought there was. But will it have enough wheel speed to bump it? Oh, yeah. Hobby Wing brushless power for the win. Look at that. Back from that outdoor crawler test, and that was just amazing. I'm going to be honest, I have tested a bunch of little micro crawlers, and it is very few of them, none of them actually before, have I been comfortable taking outside and putting on those rocks out there and had any level of fun or excitement with them. Normally they get out there and they realize the world is just too big for them, and they fall over a lot, or they just can't go up stuff. This is the first truck that's actually been able to do some of that stuff, and really surprised me, like legitimately surprised me on some of the things that it went over. And then at this point, within the full Redcat lineup, I think this thing, honestly, this Apex straight out of the box would surely outperform the original Ascent. I'm going to say even this one that has a bunch of the brass upgrades, different tires, different things like that on it. I've gone through and put a bunch of those parts on this truck. I think this one's probably still going to outperform it, just even box stock. Now, I will be honest, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There were two things when I first opened up the box as I looked at this truck that I was a little bit concerned with. The first is the width. Understanding that, yes, indeed, the width at the end of the day is a good thing for stability, and I think that's what we saw on that outdoor rock wall, but are there courses, are there challenges out there that have been designed, especially indoor crawler coursey stuff, that have been designed for this narrower wheelbase, and this extra 15 millimeters is just too much. It will not be able to make it through it. And so I was very pleasantly surprised that it actually was able to be used on my crawler track system without any issue. Now, more to be done. You have to think through with your specific course. If you're doing a bunch of indoor crawling, have you designed it around this width? Now you have this. Can it fit on your course? That was my only concern. So far in my testing, indoors and outdoors, it's been great. It has been more stable, and it has performed flawlessly and been able to accommodate the courses that I've been on, but it is one thing that you may want to consider. The other slight reservation that I had was just the wild angle that both the front and rear shocks are on. Was that going to create so much flex and so much lack of control of the weight of the body here that what we're going to get into was a whole bunch of this, where you come up on an obstacle and the one tire climbs, but it can't bring the other tire with it. But what I found with this truck is it seems like they designed it well to where the amount of total shock travel that we have is limited, right? This is not going to be full monster truck. You have a lot more shock travel back here on the rear than you do on the front. So yes, it is allowed to flex out pretty hard, but it will actually pull this other wheel up with it. So I was concerned about that. Initial testing shows maybe I was, a little bit overly concerned. Testing went well, truck performed well, but maybe that'll be something that I can see some people tweaking over time to just, you're always going to adjust the suspension on these to match your exact driving need. One of the things we have to talk about here is the price. When Redcat released the original Ascent-18, it made an absolute storm in the microcrawler world because of its cheap price. $129.99 for a very capable, high-performance microcrawler. But it did come brushed, and it has the original axles on it, which do not have as tight of a steering radius as the newer models. The Ascent-18 high steer brushless version came out with that brushless motor like we talked earlier, and higher steer clearance axles, and it upped the price to $189. So we had a $60 jump here. As you go to this Apex, $249 is the MSRP on these. So that means we've gained another $60. So you really do need to think about this here, the $60 gaps in these trucks. Because what that really means is you can practically, you can get two of these for the price of this one. If you got this, and you added the brushless system in, and you added the brass to it, just that alone is the price difference. Just that alone. If you're like myself and you're going to get this truck and you're going to put the brass on it, and you're going to put, I never did the brushless upgrade on it because this truck came out before I did it, but if you're going to put all those parts on it, then you might as well go with this one, because you're also going to get those wider stance axles plus the little bit better tires. But it comes with all of that stuff and the 3S LiPo that you don't get in this truck. So if you think you're going to go down that upgrade path, then immediately jumping to this pays for itself. Immediately jumping for this can pay for itself. But if you think you just want a couple trucks to run around indoors and, battle with, a friend, a kid, something like that, then two of these for the price of this one is a pretty good deal. Really want to push this thing to the next level. There are going to be upgrades available for it. The outer portal box here covers are brass. You will be able to get the inners in brass. Servo holder up here, that one you can get in brass. They're actually going to offer a center skid in brass and aluminum. Wheel hexes, you saw when we pulled that off, those were just plastic. You can get those in brass. Steel drive shafts and aluminum links. So there's going to be more just from the factory, but then also, of course, typically there's many companies, Trial and others, that end up coming out with some other parts as well. For me and this truck, I think a couple different things I want to do. I want to stick the back of the body on, and so I would like to get that installed on this truck just to see how it looks and how easy it is to install. I want to get it to some of my indoor local crawler courses. We have one at Cookeville Hobbies, my local hobby store. We also have another one at a Flat Rock RC park. Beautiful indoor micro crawler course. I want to get it on both of those and just continue to test it out and see just how good it does versus some of the, tuned, more comp focused rigs that some folks show up with at those events. And then I'm curious from you, are you interested in me going through and installing some of those upgrade parts? If so, give me that feedback down in the comments section. I'd be curious just to hear if you're interested in some of those being installed or not, or what you want to see me do with this truck. If there is anything that I did not answer for you in this video, please leave that down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them as well as I can. And if you're curious about anything that I've done with the other versions of this Ascent, all of that is going to be in a playlist that'll be popping up over here to your right, and I hope to see you in one of those videos. If you're curious about buying this, there will be links down in the video description where you can get it. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.